Conservation, efficiency, and renewables all have to go hand in hand, and we have to remember that it's a mix of solutions or a collection of solutions that are really going to get us where we need to go.
No renewable energy solution can stand alone. We must combine them. More than anything, there is a need for a change from fossil fuels to renewable energy. But this is not happening. All the other things happened. This is not happening. That's, of course, very interesting. Also very sad, actually. I'm very surprised to come here, see what resources you have. An abundance of resources for wind energy, for solar energy, for biomass, for hydro, for everything here. And still there's been discussed to build a nuclear power plant.
So what we found in both Alberta and Ontario, and so the detailed studies that we've done there, is that not only is there a huge untapped potential for renewables, but there's actually enough renewable potential that we can be tapping into, that we can start phasing out some of our traditional electricity sources that are either old or polluting or both.
And now compared with renewables, you have the potential, the source everywhere. That means you can relink the places, the spaces of energy harvesting and energy consumption. And this changed the whole economy, this changed the world. This renewable energy industry is the key for overcoming the world energy crisis, which is a nuclear and a fossil crisis.
We have always had the ability to develop renewable energy on a scale that we need. It's always been a question of, do we have the will to do it? It's never been a question of the technology. It's always been a question of, do we really want a renewable energy future? The keys to developing community wind here in North America are the same as they are in Europe. Most importantly, you must have the right to connect your wind turbine or your solar panel to the grid. You must have the right to sell that electricity to the grid, and there must be a mechanism in place that determines a price for the electricity.
The message that is important to me, we can do this. This is not miracle. It's not something that is completely for people who have their heads in the clouds. It is something that in the real world can be done. And for that, something like Freiland, of course, is the model. This is rural, yes. It is not very densely inhabited, yes. But it is a first step, and we can show in Freiland that it can be done.
Well, I think what we've learned from Europe is this stuff, renewable energy, happens when there's political leadership at the end of the day, and that has to come from municipal level, that has to come from state or province level, that has to come from the federal level to not only to set the vision, but also to create the policies that move renewable energy forward.
It's the same thing if you compare Samsø to other areas. You can say, well, every house is different, but every area is also different. You can't just copy the Samsø project to anywhere else. You really need to look into what society are you dealing with, and of course it means of what materials do you have, what kind of wind situation, what kind of solar situation, what kind of biomass situation, but also you need to look into what kind of people are living there. I mean, on Samsø, it's I was surprised. I moved here 4 years ago from Copenhagen, and I would never have thought that this community would be a renewable energy community. It's actually a very traditional, very farming orientated, not very ecological society. And then what has made these people think so much about renewable energy? And I think it has not so much to do about the polar bears in Greenland or the climate change. It has much more to do with the local society and a new project to be together about.
So North America needs a massive reconstruction of its infrastructure, and we can use renewable energy to reindustrialize the North American economy, to replace those jobs that are being lost in Ontario and Windsor and Oshawa. Those jobs are being lost in Detroit. We can reemploy our people building the things that we need for the future, building the solar systems and building the wind turbines that we need for our future, and we should begin immediately. And we need policies that make this possible.
what can be frustrating about looking at renewable energy is just knowing the vast potential we have in Canada, and not only from a clean energy point of view, but from an industrial development, from an economic point of view. I mean, there's such a potential here to take advantage of. Creating a whole new industry and creating a long-term sustainable industry that at the same time has great environmental benefits. And so sometimes that can be frustrating just because we don't seem to be taking advantage of this great solution that we're basically sitting on. But at the same time, in the 10 years that I've been involved in this, you're starting to see that mind shift. You're starting to see the ground moving. Whereas 10 years ago we weren't even talking about this as a real solution, and the game has changed so much even in the last 5 to 10 years. You see these advances in technologies and advances in policies all around the world, and starting to happen in Canada too. So at the same time I'm hopeful that we're getting there.